Hi everybody, my name is Randy McLean and I'm the founder and creator of WayPoint Analytics. In this session we're going to talk about wholesale distribution basic mathematics. This is really the mathematics of the financials that drive wholesale distribution economics. And this may seem like something that's very basic that everybody knows, but I'm surprised at how many people don't understand the real nuances of this very simple topic, and much to their detriment. So I wanted to make sure that everybody was completely in tune with the things that make a business work, and we boiled it right down to the essence so that we can have a short session that really covers the most important basis. So the first thing we're going to do is, the objectives that we have today are to take a fresh look at the business model that drives wholesale distribution so that everybody understands exactly where the numbers fall. Second thing is we want to make sure that people use that knowledge to shift their focus to the things that matter the most in terms of generating profitability in the business. And then use that as a framework for action so that rather than just looking at this saying, oh, that's interesting, going back to work as usual, what we want to do is have people look at it and say, I'm sitting here at my desk, or I'm making a call, or I'm doing something here, and the thing that I'm doing has a direct impact on one of these numbers. So where I have choices of what I'm going to do, which choice would I make to have the best impact for the company? Okay, the reason this matters is because most of the average or ordinary or poor results that we see in our sector is because we lose focus on the things that really matter. Actually, we lose focus on the mathematics of distribution. We find that most people in most companies don't really understand how the company works. There's this magical thought that there's all kinds of money and they can just divvy it up and so on and so forth, but it's not like that at all. The things that everybody does in the business every single day contribute to the profitability or losses in the company, and small decisions add up over time, and so everybody has a role to play. One of the other things that is important is that people spend too much time working on the wrong things. They aren't working on the things that actually have an impact or an effect or a positive impact on the bottom line of the company. And so people aren't evil when they come into work. They aren't looking at they aren't intending to hurt the company. They're mostly just not spending enough of their time working on the things that matter the most. And so it's one of the things we want to do here is make sure that people understand why this is important and how this all connects with them. And then if we can address these things and get people focused on the right things and doing the right things all the time, then that generates sustainable profit gains in the company, which lead to all the things that are important, are useful, nice in life. Raises, benefits, bonuses, expansion, new hiring, all of these things are driven by our mastery of the basic mathematics. So let's get on with the math. There's really just two numbers that make up everything in wholesale distribution when you simplify it down to its essence. The first thing is gross profit, or I'll call it GP. Second is cost to serve, which we refer to as CTS. Gross profit is essentially the amount of money that we have left after we've procured and paid for the product. Cost to serve is how much money we spend running the product through our system and delivering it into the customer's hands. So it pays our overhead, it pays for staff salaries, it pays for our IT, it pays for advertising, those kinds of things, and it gives us a profit number. The profit number that we're most focused on is called NBC. So you can see that the gross profit and cost to serve basically are the two numbers that drive the NBC, which is what we're trying to get to. So gross profit first. It's a function of sales volume and margin. So if we want to affect the gross profit, if we want the gross profit to go up, leaving us more profit in the bottom line, then what we can do is we can increase our sales volume, or we can increase the margin that we're achieving on a given sales volume, and that'll move the gross profit up. Now, most people understand this, and most wholesale distribution companies are actually pretty good at looking at those two numbers and understanding that part of the math. What they lose sight of is that the gross profit is also the operating budget for whatever you're doing. So the gross profit on the company is the amount of money that we have to run the company and then have something left over to return to the stakeholders in the company. the gross profit is basically, if our costs exceed the gross profit that we have, then we're going to lose money. And that's not good for anybody or anything at any time, and is to be avoided as wherever we can. And so ultimately, the takeaway that you can get from this is that the cost to serve must always be less than the gross profit, or the gross profit must be raised in order to cover the cost to serve. If there's nothing we can do to reduce the expenses we have in the company, then we must raise the gross profit in order to be able to cover that. So that's one way of looking at the equation from one end. Looking at the equation from the other end, we get to the cost to serve number. Cost to serve is all the operating expenses excluding sales pay. We leave that out of the equation for a bunch of technical reasons, but for doing a good analysis, we want to look at all the other expenses that are involved in getting the product to the customer. Where we were looking at the other things being driven by sales volume and margins or pricing, the cost to serve is driven by transaction counts. The more invoices we have to write, the more invoices we have to buy, the more time we have to write them, the more invoices we have to collect, the more people we have to have collecting them, the more individual checks will come in, the more people we have to process the checks, and so on. The more invoices we write, the more times we have to pick things and put them on an invoice and send them out to the customer. And it's much, much better for the company to pick 20 of something and send it out on an invoice than to pick 15 and then 5 of something and send it out on 2 invoices. So those transaction counts really affect what we're able to do in the business. They really do matter, and the transaction counts are the key to controlling cost to serve. So they're driven by transaction counts on whether it's the number of orders we have to process, the number of invoices we have to write, the number of lines we have in the invoices, which cause us to go back to the bins and pick the materials over and over again, or the number of shipments that we have to support out to our customers. If we reduce any one of those transaction counts down, we will reduce the cost in the company and make the company more profitable. And the interesting thing is we can make the company more profitable without having to add more business or do things that are difficult in a tough market in order to get there. So the cost to serve has to fit within the GP. Cost to serve must be less than the gross profit, which is the operating budget for the company or for the invoice or for the territory or for whatever. And if it's not, then what we can do from the cost to serve end is we can reduce the transaction counts to bring the cost down to fit within the gross profit envelope that we may have. And whether we're looking at gross profit as a budget or cost to serve as a cost, that can be looked at any level. We can look at the whole company, the gross profit, and that's the operations. That's how much money we have to operate the whole company. We can look at a sales territory, and the gross profit we have there is the money that we have to pay for everything that goes on in the territory and handling the product, getting it out, invoicing, collections, that kind of thing. Or if we just look at a single invoice, the gross profit on the invoice has to cover the cost to serve on that invoice, the amount it costs to do marketing that led to the sale, the amount it costs to have a warehouse full of inventory and have people go get the inventory, pick, pack, and ship it and get it out the door to the customer, the cost of collecting the invoices and getting the money in the bank, the cost of our overhead of having the warehouse, having executive management, having all the things that make a company run. All those costs, or that portion for that that's attributed to that one single invoice, has to be covered by that one invoice. So ultimately, we're always managing to balance gross profit and cost to serve. So if we want to manage gross profit, we can raise the sale amount. If we can get a customer to buy more on a single order, then that helps us get the gross profit up, so we have more gross profit budget to cover our costs. We can raise margins, have a slightly higher price or maybe a much higher price on the product that we're selling to increase the amount of money that winds up being in gross profit, so we have more money to cover our expenses. Or we can reduce the transaction counts that are required for the sale. If the customer is going to buy 3 of them today and 3 of them tomorrow and 3 of them the next day, why doesn't he just order, if he's going to order 15 of them this week, why doesn't he just give us a 15-piece order for the whole week? And if we do that, the company will be more profitable. For managing cost to serve, we always want to reduce the transaction counts, like I said before. And we can also take a look at eliminating items on the cost to serve. For instance, An order that is a direct order that's shipped directly from a vendor to the customer wouldn't have a warehouse cost because we don't have to warehouse the product. We never see it. It goes straight from the manufacturer straight to the customer, and we don't see the cost. And so we've eliminated one of the cost to serve elements, or one of the cost elements in the cost to serve for that particular sale, and that makes the sale more profitable. That's a good thing. The other thing that we can do is we can add fees for services to help offset the cost to serve. If the customer is buying $5 worth of stuff and he wants us to send him an invoice and collect the bill later and ship it out to him on a truck and that kind of thing, there's no way there's enough money to cover all of that. So it's really smart to be able to offer that kind of service to the customer by saying, if you want a delivery on something that is below this threshold, then there's a delivery charge, because obviously you want the delivery service, and you're surely not asking us to provide it to you for free, because it costs us more than we can make on the product. And so you can invent fees to help offset the cost to serve that can help on that end of the equation as well. So in conclusion, everybody, everywhere should manage both gross profit and cost to serve. And you can do that by managing NBC. That's the magic number where those two things meet. Gross profit and cost to serve must be always in balance at every level. I have to make sure that wherever possible, or essentially everywhere, the gross profit is always greater than the cost to serve, or the cost to serve is always less than the gross profit. And then it's important to make sure that everybody's involved at every aspect or every level of the process, so that from start to finish, we're always looking at things. Do we need this cost? Can we reduce this cost? Can we increase the amount of product that this cost is being applied to? Is there a way of getting more gross profit in what we're doing to make sure that our costs are covered? And so we want to make sure those things are always done. If we do that, we basically have mastered wholesale distribution mathematics, and we have been able to apply it in what we do in every day. As we're working every day, we're able to apply it where it's going to make the most sense and where it's going to actually provide a return to the company. And those things may be small, but when they're repeated over and over, they really add up, and they make a huge contribution to the success, the profitability of the company, and its ability to do good things for everyone. So that's it for today. We have more of these videos in the series, and we have detailed videos on many of the aspects that we talked about that are available. So by all means, make sure you spend some time in those videos as well as you improve your skills and your capabilities, making your company into the best that it can be. Thanks, and have a great day.